My name is Pihl. I'm an entrepreneur. I currently run a company called Lost in London. Lost in London, we provide services to language schools and internationals in London, and we also do events, tours, attraction tickets. We're mainly a distribution platform for the international market and trying to launch new services for internationals in London. Started with Lost in London quite randomly. I tried to launch a social network for students, and the purpose of the network was all of the services that a student might need in one space. That was making money, saving money, board, information, and studies. And while I was doing that, I met Bailey, who was running Lost in London, and he was organizing events for international students and was working with about 5-6 schools. And I saw the opportunity there to offer more services and kind of take over the concept that I had with my network in providing more services to the international students and the language schools. So I offered him to invest in his company and take it to the next level, and which he accepted, and we took his main competition on board. It was Cesar Ruiz, and he was running City Soul for other language schools, and we shifted the company around. We started working with more schools, doing more events, and then started launching more services. So we do attraction tickets now, we have our tour company, we have a magazine and other services for the international community. It's my fourth business. The first business I started was when I was 16, and my parents were not keen on me getting a scooter, so they blocked my bank account and told me I didn't have any money to buy a scooter. And I took my American passport, because I was born in America, scanned it, changed the date of birth, and then plastified it and made it into an American ID card, and went to hire a club when I was 16, and I organized an event for the Y generation of Paris, which was quite a success. And my mother, about 2-3 weeks later, walks into my room, sees me counting cash, and comes up to me, slaps me and says, "What are you doing selling drugs?" So that was my first kind of business, and that's when I really understood that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and set up my own thing. From that, I started when I was at university. I set up the Entrepreneurial Society of King's College, which is now King's College Business Club and the biggest society in the UK. And I started a belt company with 2,000 euros, where I was selling luxury items to shops, Savile Row, German Street, Notting Hill. So I was basically distributing crocodile items, all made to measure for the customers. I sold that within the first year. Then went to do a bottling business where we're doing advertising drinks for various companies. So I've worked with L'Oreal, Shiseido, Converse, Dorchester Group, Mercedes, a lot of different ones, just creating a bottle of water for their events and for their marketing purposes. That company turned around, and we started launching new drinks on the French market. So we worked with some of the supermarket chains, and we launched a drink called Aquapax, Bionade, the berry company, Attitude drink, all on the French market. And I exited that company about 2 years ago, just before setting up Lost in London. The financing of the business for me is not really required, so I've always started with very, very little funding. Drinkies, the company is now turning over a few millions, and we started it with £500. We just set up a website and then created a deal with a water supplier that can distribute and develop the drinks we needed. With my belt company, I started with 2,000 euros, just buying a stock of belts, cutting them to pieces. So I'm a firm believer that you don't necessarily need a lot of cash to start something. You do need cash to potentially bring it to the next level, but to start it, you can easily start, prove the concept, and then get funding. And the perfect example of that is Groupon, who started their technology on a WordPress website, so that cost less than £500. Currently within Lost in London we have 14 people working with us, 3 of which are interns from language schools, and all of the rest are pretty much full-time. Some of them are freelance but still working full-time for us. Am I a good boss? You'd have to ask the people working for me. I always try to incentivize people when they work with us. So we have our aims and objectives, and we always try to reach our goals. Now, whenever an employee has an idea or a concept that can bring more revenue or a new market, then I'm happy to share that with them. And everybody we work with, a lot of them are shareholders in the business, because it's a great way to incentivize them and get them to work more. Average work day, it really depends. I don't think I can say I have an average work day. I like to come into the office as much as I can, but I often go out and network. I think networking is the most important in any industry, so it's meeting the right people that can have a project, a business, a venture that can kind of fit in within your market. And with Lost in London, we're very lucky to have a niche market of international students, so a lot of people try to access them, and we can easily bring someone else's product, rebrand it, and put it through our distribution. And that's what we're going to be trying to do with SIM cards, supported by Cubic Telecom and Vodafone. Our customers are mainly language schools, and ultimately the students within those language schools. And we try to always provide the best service to them, make sure that we understand what their needs are, so we have surveys going around to understand the needs of the international community, and then try to come up with products that fit their needs, and that goes for the language schools as well as for the students. Crucial things to grow the business is bringing the right people on board, being willing to take risks. My partners were very object to taking designers in-house before when we started, because we didn't have the cash flow to do that, and I thought it was really important to have the right team and the right people on board, so I've been fighting with them to take more risk, and again, risk being limited risks. Then other things to grow the business is really networking, finding the right people that needed to communicate with our market and can kind of help us grow by taking their product and pushing it into ours. What else can I say I've done for Lost in London? Yeah, understanding the students as well. My partners before were running events in just one club every week, and I think an international needs to discover. So we started rotating venues. That created more success because the students were happy to discover a new club every week. And from there we started doing attraction tickets, and then we did the tours, and then we kind of grew from one thing to another, and we're looking to move into property and banking very soon.